Welcome back to another session of Meat Market Minutes. We're here for the first quarter of 2021, and we've got a group of economists from around the southeastern region, and we're just talking about what's going on in the meat market here as we start 2021. So we'll have Dr. Jordan Shockley from the University of Kentucky. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the poultry market. So take it away, Jordan.
Thanks, Justin. Glad to be here and talking to you this quarter about what's going on in the poultry markets. So for those of you who see my presentation, since we've started this a year ago, I've already started with this because things have been hectic and with COVID and trying to understand what's going on. And so at this point, I think the first one I did was on wings. And I can't stop talking about wings or not talk about wings even today because we saw this dip here. And this time when we did our first one, I said, wings are cheap, go out and buy wings, right? And apparently everyone listened, I hope, and drove demand as well as some supply issues as the poultry industry adjusted to COVID. And we have seen an increase in prices all the way, probably started in this late June timeframe, all the way up to just a couple weeks ago when we hit record high prices of $2.80 a pound. That's roughly $1 over where we were at this time last year, and the average from 2015 to 2019. And so really what's been driving these wing prices, you think about coming out of the initial shock of COVID, wings have actually kind of been a staple for takeout for consumers, right? They've been getting those takeouts from restaurants, and restaurants have some restaurants that may have not have offered wings before. They've been an easier staple to prepare and get ready and sell as takeout offerings. And so you've seen this drive as well as increased consumption of grilling out wings during the summertime. And then, we usually kind of get ready for football season, right? We got college football, and then usually we see that peak there for Super Bowl. And so we've seen this huge swing in prices, and what's coming up just around the corner here in March, right? We got March Madness, basketball, college basketball. So there's still this high demand for wings. And what we all have to remember here with wings, right, is there's 2 wings to every bird that gets slaughtered, right? And so there's just not a lot of poundage to go around to meet the demand we've seen since COVID has happened and with all the shocks that we have seen. So we've seen this record high and it's kind of stable pricing since then, around $2.80 a pound for wings. But we also just had a crazy weather event, Uri, I guess it was called, Ice-mageddon, Snow-mageddon, whatever you want to call it. That second and third week in February, 75% of the U.S. was covered in snow or ice. And a lot of those impacts were in our southeastern region, which is where the majority of poultry operations and poultry growers are. And so how does this impact poultry, right? Well, if anyone tried to, I was here in the ice storm here in Kentucky. We didn't leave the house because we couldn't get on the roads. The roads were icy. And so if you think about delivering chicks to be placed in a house, you look at feed delivery, or you look at getting those fully grown chickens out of the house, transportation was disrupted, right? And so production was halted because a lot of those workers couldn't even get to the poultry facilities. to do the processing. And so a lot of, Texas got a lot of publicity nationwide. And I guess was it last week, Sanderson Farms just came out and they lost 1.6 million chickens because of the ice storm and the weather events there in Texas. So we've seen a lot of this short-term supply shock, right? And so this is shown in broiler egg sets. Here we've seen this decrease here, that decrease in chicks placed. Okay, but I think what's crazy here is we've seen some shocks in other meat market minutes, but this drop in broiler slaughter is staggering to me on a week by week basis. And so if you think about this, yes, this is a short term shock in production, right? But if you look at a 10-day weather shock in production, that's 20% of a broiler's life, right? And so pretty substantial. And so this coupled with demand, I think we're going to see some increases in prices across the board and in wing prices. And so something to be look forward to, as well as, just again, we keep common theme across these today has been feed prices. And so you're going to see some rolling back on supply on production, pulling back on some of them slaughter numbers because the industry is trying to adjust to high feed prices as well. And so I expect prices to go up for wings and other cuts, but seeing this dramatic decrease it was staggering when I pulled this together a few days ago. And so I just thought I'd share that with you. And if you can catch wings at a discount, I just grabbed these bad boys 2 days ago. I paid $2.50 a pound for it. And if you think a wholesale price is $2.80, there's going to be some lag there at the retail store. So what you see here is a one pack of chicken wings bought at local Kroger. And if you think about it, we go back, there's only 2 wings per bird, right? Sitting on that grill or that smoker is 6 birds. And so something to think about when you just think about supply and demand for one packet to feed me and my wife here. And I did smoked wings, but I did them 3 ways here for you, David. So right here, I got a dry rub mesquite. Then at top right, got my traditional buffalo. And then down here, I tried something new, which was a hatch chile creme sauce to do it. And so the key for all you smokers out there for smoking wings, and they always complain about how do I get my skin crispy on the smoker, throw these bad boys in the air fryer and then toss them in your sauce. And so that gets that skin crispy for you. So with that, we'll switch around and answer any questions anybody has.
Thanks, Jordan. Does anyone have any questions on the poultry market for Jordan?
I got a comment. I think the impact of the storm's pretty interesting, but we were already cutting back in terms of broiler chicks place, egg sets, the works below a year ago, really driven, I think, by profitability due to feed costs. And so the storm provides an interruption, but gosh, we were already cutting back in terms of what we were doing anyway, it seems to me.
Yep, absolutely.
I think in your picture too, you got a chicken with 1 wing running around somewhere.
I do.
Half chickens.
I know. Six and a half chickens on that grill, on that smoker.
I think one of them got away.
I know. I couldn't get that even number in the packaging. That I thought one was in there and it was hiding.
I think something that I guess in relation to David's comment, I question why, USDA has poultry production up in 2021, given what profitability looks like.
So I even thought, you know, going into when we were doing our outlook talks earlier, right? I think I was expecting poultry production to be up for 2021. And I think that was really the consensus of just how much. And I think part of that was looking at coming out of 2019, 2020 pre-pandemic, where we were at that point 3% above, you know, increase in production, which is usually double, you know, what to typically expect in the poultry industry. And so we came out of the gate strong in 2020 in production, and then coronavirus hit, right? And so I think there was some expectations that we would adjust going into 2021, but those that follow just general markets, right? I think that a lot of these predictions by myself and others were not expecting grain prices to stay consistently high as they have been. And if you think just a 6-month difference in grain prices and how much they have changed and increased, that has now driven the profitability scenario, as David mentioned, of our poultry processors. Have now seen this, kind of potentially a longer term issue. And so we're seeing these drawbacks in chicks placed and production numbers down that were not anticipated, coupled with this shock that we're seeing here. And so it's going to be, I think the we'll recover and we'll see higher than average production in the next month to kind of fill this shock. But I don't anticipate it being, I think I even overestimated the expansion or increase in production for this year, because I did not think grain prices would stay this high for this long. And so we'll see what happens.
Very good. Any last questions? Well, thanks, Jordan. We'll go ahead and wrap this one up, and we'll see y'all on the next video.